People rely on scores that look solid and still end up getting outcompeted because they never checked where that score sits in the crowd. The gap is simple, but brutal. People confuse percentiles with percentages and treat quartiles as chunks of the grading scale instead of slices of the data. Mathematically, that swaps rank for value, so shifts in the distribution change your standing even if your score does not move. Picture yourself logging into a results page, seeing a mark that feels safe, making a decision based on that gut feeling, and only later noticing that your position quietly sank because everyone else clustered above you. A percentile tells you how your value ranks when you line up the data from smallest to largest. It answers a single question: what share of the group is at or below this value? Think of it as a coordinate along the data rather than along the measuring stick. Two people with very different scores can share the same percentile if the distribution is stretched in that region, and two people with very similar scores can have very different percentiles if the data is packed tightly there. This is about order, not about the raw units. Use something concrete. You score 70 on a tough exam where most people struggle, and your percentile is around the 95th. That is not a paradox. It means your raw mark is unhelpful on its own because the test was hard, so the rank relative to others carries the information you need. Flip it the other way, and a much higher raw score could still leave you in the middle of the pack on an easy test where many did well. The percentile tells you how your result sits in the crowd, not how much you know. The most common beginner mistake is reading a percentile as a percent correct. They treat a percentile like a grade, as if a high percentile meant mastery and a low percentile meant failure. That collapses two different ideas into one and leads to noisy conclusions. It is why people talk past each other when someone says they are in a high percentile without saying which population, or when someone panics over a low percentile that simply reflects a tough benchmark. Quartiles split an ordered data set into equal quarters using cut points determined by the data itself. The middle cut is the median, which separates the lower half from the upper half. The lower quartile is the cut that marks off the bottom quarter of the data, and the upper quartile marks off the top quarter. None of these are anchored to the measurement scale. They are anchored to the rank order. That is the right mental model. You are carving the sorted list into equally populated sections. The interquartile range is the distance between the upper and lower quartiles, and it measures the spread of the middle chunk of the data. It deliberately ignores the extremes so that a few wild values do not hijack your sense of variability. If you care about robust summaries that do not swing when a single observation jumps, quartiles and this middle spread do the job. You're trading sensitivity to the tails for stability in the center. In practice, that means your summary will match what most cases look like, not what the most extreme cases suggest. How do you actually find a percentile from a list? First sort the data. Decide the percentile you care about and map it to a position along this sorted list. If you land exactly on an entry, that entry is your percentile value. If you land between two entries, you should blend the neighboring values in proportion to how far along you are between the positions. That blending step is what people mean when they say interpolation. It reflects the idea that percentiles slide smoothly as you move your target fraction of the data up or down, rather than jumping abruptly from one data point to the next. There are multiple reasonable ways to define the exact position calculation, and different tools implement different conventions. Some take the nearest rank without blending, others always blend between neighbors. Some adjust the position slightly so the lowest observation does not correspond to a zero share, and the highest observation does not correspond to a full share. These choices matter most for tiny samples and at extreme percentiles. For large samples in the middle of the range, the differences shrink. The practical rule is simple. Pick a convention, document it, and keep it consistent across your work. Here's a rookie failure that shows up everywhere: ranking yourself against the wrong crowd. People compute a percentile using last year's applicants, but apply it to this year's decisions. Or they compare a child's growth to an outdated chart and read comfort or alarm into a number that is not tied to the current reference. Or they take a benchmark from one region and use it to interpret data from a different region. Rank only makes sense relative to the data it ranks. When the reference shifts, the same raw value can jump to a very different position. The fix is mechanical. Always store the reference distribution with the percentile. Name the population, the window of time, and any filters applied. If you are building a pipeline, log the exact list or a fingerprint of it, and version the method you use to compute positions. When you report a percentile, include a plain statement of the comparison group. If the reference changes, recompute the percentile. Do not reuse old ranks with new data. This prevents silent drift and makes your numbers auditable. Another widespread mistake is averaging percentiles across tests or categories and thinking the result has meaning. Percentiles live on a rank scale, not a value scale. The spacing between percentiles is not uniform in the raw units, so an average of ranks hides the shape of each distribution and mixes their quirks. In a skewed test, moving up a few percentile points in the crowded region might take much less or much more improvement than moving the same number of points in a sparse region. Averaging wipes that out and gives a number that looks official but says little. The right approach depends on what you are trying to combine. If you care about an overall rank among people, pool the raw data across the groups you care about and compute a single percentile on the combined list. If you must aggregate signals that only arrive as percentiles, translate each percentile back to an estimated underlying value using the reference distribution for that feature. Combine those values in the way your problem demands, and then, if needed, convert back to a percentile on the combined distribution. That round trip keeps you on a value scale when combining, and only returns to ranks at the end when comparing to the final crowd. A different confusion comes from mixing percent with percentile. Being in the top 1% is not the same thing as being at the 99th percentile, and neither is the same as improving by a given percent. Percentile is a position in a crowd. Percent is a relative change in your own value. They answer different questions and cannot be swapped without breaking meaning. When someone says they are at the 99th percentile, they are saying almost everyone else is at or below them, not that their score improved by that amount. Skewed distributions are where percentiles shine and where sloppy thinking falls apart. When the data has a long tail, big jumps in raw value can occur without much movement in rank out in the sparse regions, and tiny nudges can cause big rank moves in crowded regions. Percentiles keep your head straight because they ignore the size of steps and focus on the order. This is why they are used in admissions, growth charts, credit scoring, and service reliability. The unit changes across domains, but the rank logic is the same. Your place among peers. Keep an eye on ties and granularity. In domains with lots of repeated values, many observations may pile up at the same number. Depending on your method, you might assign the same percentile to all of them, or you might spread them across a small interval. Both choices are defensible as long as you are consistent and do not read far more precision than exists. Remember that in a coarse measurement system, you cannot manufacture fine resolution by slicing the ranks thinner. The data's grain limits what your percentile can tell you. Percentiles and quartiles tempt people to translate them back into statements about how good a raw value is by itself, but that is not what they are for. They are truthfully about standing, not merit. And they describe position, not distance. Use them to understand where you sit and how that position moves as the crowd changes. When you need magnitude, go back to the values and study the differences there. The box of tools you bring to a data set should include both comparisons, where you are and how far apart things are. The most important shift is to stop treating percentiles and quartiles as decorations on top of your numbers, and start treating them as coordinates that only exist relative to the specific distribution in front of you. Think in ranks when you compare across people or items. Think in values when you decide how much better or worse those items are, and never confuse the two. The moment you sort in your head and place yourself on that ordered list, the noise clears. Percentile answers where you stand. Quartiles in the middle range sketch the core of the data. Outliers are outside that core and must be inspected on their own terms. Next, we go to outliers, when to remove them and when they are the whole story, because once you know where the center and the ranks are, the tails stop being a nuisance and start being a decision.